Germany again. Today I want to talk about a very special knife to me because this was a kind of a grail knife for me for several years, and I first saw the first version of this knife at a shop, Old Man's Knives in Amsterdam. It's a crazy shop with many knives, and I saw this knife more than a decade ago and just fell in love with it and just got around it a few times. At one point I pulled the trigger and purchased it, and yeah, it's nothing less than the incredible and gorgeous Rockstead Higo IW ZDP and ZDP 189 with this nice ironwood handles. And yeah, this is a really special knife, and it's a gorgeous way of Japanese craftsmanship. And I like to have a closer look on the knife and tell you a bit about the specifications and about the way they built this knife. And of course, maybe I will talk a bit about how it is to purchase a knife in that price range. And yeah, so let's have a closer look. When we look at the specifications of the Rockstead Higo X I ZDP, yeah, this knife comes with an overall length of 21.6 centimeters. The blade by itself is around 9.2 centimeters. The thickness of the blade is 3.1 millimeters, and its overall weight is 136 gram, which is not really heavy for a, yeah, let's say bigger folding knife like this. But this is through the full titanium body and titanium liner, and of course the beautiful ironwood handles. It's a really light sort of wood, and so 136 gram are not really heavy. The blade is made of the famous ZDP 189 steel. It's a really durable steel which is hardened at 67 Rockwell, and the blade geometry, this is one of the really interesting points on this knife, is the so-called Honsokuri grind. I don't know if I pronounce this correctly, but for me, as German, it reads like Honsokuri. Yeah, as you can see, it's a convex grind. If not to say, it's the convex grind. This is a crazy edge. It's just, I don't know if it is possible to see this on the camera, but this, I mean, this is grinded to zero, if you know what I mean. This is a crazy sharpness and a crazy convex grind. And yeah, it's incredible. As you can see, the whole finish of the blade is so well done and so precise that it is just stunning. It's crazy sharp. The steel ZDP 189 is a really good and durable steel. So it's just a very simple steel to handle, because there's one very effective and simple care method about sharpening this gorgeous blade. You can just put some metal polish on a plate where you put some denim, or you cover it with some denim, and that allows the blade to be removed gently after long or intensive use, and in that way the sharpness of a Rockstead knife can be maintained for many years without a real resharpening where some substance of the blade is going away. And this is crazy. Otherwise you can just pull it over a leather strap and it holds its edge like crazy. ZDP 189 is yeah, really high-end steel in a way, and this blade steel was developed in cooperation with Hitachi. And it's not stainless, of course, like every good tool or knife steel is, because it's the simple reason when you try to make or produce a stainless steel, you need to put more than 11% chromium in it. And when you put more than 11% of chromium in the steel, it becomes a bit, easy said, it becomes a bit softer. So you can reach that hardness and that durability and sharpness with any stainless steel today, because this is the reason you need more than 11% of chromium in it. This nice and stunning polishing of the knife is one point that I'm sure makes the crazy price point of this knife. This thing is polished in a way you only find on some other Japanese katanas or something. This is something I've never seen in that perfection on any knife than from Rockstead. This is a point. And I think they do this crazy mirror polishing because they want to aware the blade of rust or anything else, which is normal for a steel like ZDP 189 because of the lack of chromium in it. So they do this crazy polishing, and this is one reason why this is not a pure factory knife, in my opinion. I would call it a semi-custom knife, because despite of the use of specially developed high-tech processes, many work steps, including this finish of this crazy polishing, many work steps can only be done by hand. So the effort is enormous, and the quantities of these knives are therefore low. So it's sometimes a bit hard to get one. We have several dealers here in Europe and in Germany. So this was, at that point where this was available, no longer a problem. Yeah, this is a great example, in my opinion, of how the Japanese mindset of craftsmanship can get to an end in a way, you know. The Japanese mindset of craftsmanship, this is really interesting. When it comes to knives or even other things, it's just about how can I get a thing, whether it is a knife or a watch or something, how can I get this thing as beautiful as possible? And a thing in the Japanese mindset of this craftsmanship gets its beauty not only from its design or its attitude or something. It gets its real beauty from the way how good it functions. So when you adapt this to the knife, a knife becomes more beautiful the better it cuts. So this explains why they're so innovative with creating knives that are sharp, like this crazy thing here. And the whole company is just a nice story. The company was founded in year 2000 by Katsumi Kitano, who is a passionate knife maker and collector from Japan, and who has been fascinated by swords and knives his entire life. And he just ran some manufacturing of precision tools, and in his spare time he made a first knife which he designed by his own. And in 1989 he exhibited his first knife, which he had made in his spare time, and he called it the Rockstead, which means something like rock in the surf. So with which he wanted to express that this knife was stable, reliable, indestructible, like even a rock in the surf. So this knife caught the attention of many knife enthusiasts, some dealers and experts who were really impressed by the innovative blade geometry and of course the exceptional sharpness you can see on the knives till today, and the whole design. It's just it was just crazy. And after receiving this really much positive feedback, he decided to devote himself full time to knife making and founded the Rockstead Corporation, which is the global recognized brand that it is today. And they continue to expand and improve the range, of course, by introducing new materials, techniques, and concepts, and that made the company to what it is today. And this is all in a way perfection. This is just something which is not necessary. You don't need this performance on a knife. This is a pure luxury item. And it's done so well. There are so many things they thought about. Look at these little steps over here so that your thumb won't slip on the side. I mean, look at the way the jimpings are done at that knife. You have several jimpings on the back. You have one down under so that you, when you take it maybe in a reverse grip, that your thumb is just sticking there. This is so nice. This is not too sharp. This is not too soft. It makes a perfect grip on this knife. The thumb studs are really well. You can open it the classical way. It just sits perfect. What else? When you flip it up, this is a really nice thing. When you flip it up, it feels like if there is a feather built inside, but it's not. It's only done, the smoothness, by the quality of the washers inside. And this is crazy. This is so much fun, you know. This is, it's great. It's great, like cutting some paper sheets with it. With this incredible sharpness, it's just crazy. And this knife, for all the guys who wonder why there is no pocket clip. I'm not a big fan of pocket clips. I remove them from nearly all knives I own because I just wear knives in belt sheaths or in pocket sheaths. And I don't need some clips. And this knife, it would be for the whole design, it would be an absolute fail in my opinion to put a pocket clip on it. But for this reason, this knife comes with this belt leather sheath for guys who really want to take this knife with them. There's a little tool at the sheath too, where you can remove the handles and deconstruct the knife for cleaning or something. And the sheath is done also really nicely, like the whole knife. It fits the knife, of course, well. And so you don't have the need of a pocket clip. For all the people who want to really carry this knife for daily use, I don't know if there are people, maybe there are people that carry the knife for daily use and like pocket clips. This is nothing for you. But this is the next point I want to talk about a bit. This is a knife that is on a crazy price point. This is about around 1,300 or 1,400 euros. Is it worth it? Of course this is worth it. The material, the kind of craftsmanships, the whole work steps that are necessary to build a blade like this. This is the fucking Rolls Royce in semi-custom knives. It is worth it. All the work steps that can only done by hand and all the time that it's needed to build in a semi-custom way a knife like this. This is worth it. The materials and all the kind of stuff. But is it an intelligent decision to purchase a knife like this? I have to say I use many of my high-priced knives, and but not this one. This is a bit sad on the story. This was for long years. This was a kind of gray knife for me. As I mentioned before, I saw this knife at first more than a decade ago in a knife shop called Old Man's Knives in Amsterdam. This is a crazy big knife shop. even a bit high priced. But I saw the first version of the Higo there with this ironwood handles, and I completely fell in love with the design, with the whole line. It just fascinated me in a way, and looked even it looked like poor quality to me. And then I informed about the company and other things around that company, and the way they do the grinding and the design of the blade geometries that Rockstead uses. And I was at the start at that time when I saw the first version of this knife. It was not the Higo X I ZDP. It was another version, but it was the same, the completely same design, even with some ironwood handles. And I saw this knife, and I was just at the beginning of collecting knives, and I just, as many of you, I get just up with some borders. How much do I spend for a knife? At first there was some natural border when I started to become a knife enthusiast. I was really young and had not that money and was not able to purchase knives like this. And I just started with knives around, I don't know, that was really high priced for that time for me, for 80 euros to 100 euros or something like this. And then the life changed, the possibilities to spend more money went up, and I was able to purchase knives. But I had this border in my mind just around 300 euros. I just was not willing to spend more than 300 euros for a knife. But that did not last long, as many of you will know from their own behavior. It just went up to 500 euros, and there was a big range. I think between 300 and 500 euros, you can get so many really good knives, and that lasted a few years. And then at some point, I did well with myself, and my life went well, and there was years ago, maybe at that point, where I would be able to spend 1,400 euro for this knife just for fun. But from that point where I was able to spend this money just for fun, it took me a few years to think over if I am willing to spend that money for a knife like this. And at some point I pulled the trigger, and now I own this. But let me say, for everyone who's in the decision, it's a luxury item. You all know it. I know it from several experiences in my life. It's nothing worse than a kind of fulfilled dreams. I had this experience with some watches of mine. I had this with other things, some items. Years you're dreaming of it and think, one day maybe I will buy me a product like this. Even it's a watch, even it's a knife or another item. And in the end, I'm a guy, this means nothing. And I always think of just give this away again, because this is maybe one of the only knives. I even use some Rendell knives of mine. This is the only one. I don't know why. Maybe it's this crazy polishing. I don't want to destroy this baby, I don't know why. But I think I thought several times about giving this knife away again, because it's just standing there and I took it in the hand and it's nice. But with this one, it was a bit like, what the problem with fulfilling dreams is, it's not half as good as the time when you think about buying this knife, getting around it, get some information about it. So it's hard to say if it's really worth it. I don't use this one. I think it's because of the crazy blade that I don't want to destroy. I have this with no other knife. I say it again, I even use some Rendell knives down in the forest. But this one, I can't do this. I don't know why I can't do this. But overall, it's a great knife. And it's an absolute luxury item. You don't need that performance for cutting. You don't need that performance for a good cutting and a good knife. But this is, ladies and gentlemen, in my opinion, the Rolls-Royce of semi-custom knives. So I hope you liked the video about the Rockstead Higo, and maybe it helped you out if you're in the process of thinking about getting a knife of Rockstead. And yeah, so if you liked the video, please subscribe and stay tuned.